When it comes to practicing the guitar, it can feel like there aren't enough hours in the day to get through everything that you feel like you need to practice, like timing, tone, technique, phrasing, fretboard knowledge, you name it. There are so many things that we need to do to become better guitar players, and if you're anything like me, you have a limited amount of time to practice in a given day, and it can sometimes feel like it's a struggle to get through all the things that you want to work on. However, if you have the right approach to your practice, you can tackle many of these problems or many of these areas that you want to work on in a single exercise or a single sitting, which compounds the amount of practice you're able to do in one practice session. Let me show what I'm talking about. Let's imagine for a second that we wanted to work on our technique. We also wanted to work on our fretboard knowledge, our vocabulary, and our timing all at once. Well, we could break this down into several smaller segments, but what we could also do is we could develop a compound exercise that worked on all of these things all at once. So let's start by talking about fretboard knowledge. Let's say we're trying to learn the G major scale all up and down our fretboard, a pretty useful thing to do. Now, in itself, we could sit and play that up and down and up and down, and we'd get better at playing G major, but we wouldn't necessarily get any better at making music with G major. We also wouldn't get the technique practice that we're looking for, and we probably wouldn't get the timing practice we're looking for either. But if we were to throw a metronome on and we were to practice our G major scale with a strict timing constraint, let's say we're playing eighth notes, and we were to practice, rather than just going up and down the G major scale rote, we were to practice making music with our G major scale, we might get something like this, where we would play Now, what I'm doing there is I'm using improvisation as a vehicle to explore my G major scale, but also to work on my timing accuracy. And I'm also doing some technical work by restricting myself to playing as many hammer-ons and pull-offs as I possibly can. Now, if I do 20 minutes of this kind of practice, I'm essentially getting the value of 4 20-minute sessions in one sitting. I'm sure you can imagine how this sort of supercharging of your practice sessions is going to have a huge benefit on you if, like me, you're a busy guitar player that wants to get better but doesn't have the time to dedicate 20 minutes to every single thing that you need to work on in a given day. Also, let's be honest, that's quite a boring way to practice and not much fun. We want to get the most out of our practice sessions. So if you want to learn about this approach and so much more about the solid scientific principles behind practicing, how much you should practice, when you should practice, how hard it should be, what sort of things you should work on, when you should move to other things, structuring your practice sessions, and so much more, you can join me on the 1st of July on my guitar bootcamp, where we're going to fix your practice in a day. Links are down below. Places are strictly limited.